Ever wondered how lo-fi music came into existence? Well, the answer lies in the heart of the mid-20th century, a time when music was evolving and shaping the world as we know it. Lo-fi, short for low fidelity, is not just a genre, but a term used to describe music where the quality of the recording is lower than the usual contemporary standards. You might be thinking, why would anyone intentionally produce something of lower quality? But that's the beauty of lo-fi. It's about rawness and authenticity, bringing a certain charm to the music that polished, high-fidelity recordings often miss. The term low fidelity was first coined in the 1950s, an era known for its iconic rock and roll and the birth of pop. In those days, recording technology was not as advanced as it is today, and many artists had to record their music in less than ideal conditions. They would often use homemade or makeshift recording equipment, leading to a lower sound quality. But rather than let this hinder them, these artists embraced the imperfections, resulting in a unique and distinctive sound that we now know as lo-fi. In the 1950s, lo-fi was more of a necessity than a style. But as recording technology improved, some artists chose to stick with the lo-fi aesthetic, enjoying the raw, unpolished sound it offered. This was the beginning of lo-fi as a movement, a conscious decision by artists to prioritize emotion and authenticity over technical perfection. The charm of lo-fi lies in its simplicity. It's about the music and the message it carries, not the production value. It's about capturing a moment, a feeling, or an emotion and sharing it with the world. It's about making something beautiful out of the imperfect, and that's what makes lo-fi so special. So, with roots in the 1950s, lo-fi started to shape a new musical landscape. But this was just the beginning. As the decades rolled on, lo-fi would continue to evolve and influence music in ways that nobody could have predicted. Moving forward to the 70s and 80s, lo-fi music started to evolve and take a new shape. This era was a time of experimentation, of pushing boundaries, and of course of great music. And right in the thick of it all was lo-fi, quietly forming its own distinct identity. During these 2 decades, artists began to intentionally incorporate lo-fi aesthetics into their work. What was once a result of necessity, due to lack of high-quality recording equipment, turned into a stylistic choice. Artists recognized the warmth and intimacy that these lower-quality recordings offered, and they began to use it to their advantage. It was in this era that lo-fi music found its voice. The grainy, raw sound became its trademark, and this unique quality began to captivate audiences. The music was real, it was authentic, and it was unlike anything else that was being produced at the time. Key artists from this era started to emerge, each bringing their own unique spin to the genre. They saw the potential in the imperfections of lo-fi, and they used it to create music that was emotionally resonant and deeply personal. Artists like Daniel Johnston, who recorded his music on a simple tape recorder, and R. Stevie Moore, who is often referred to as the godfather of home recording, were pioneers in this movement. Their music wasn't polished or perfect, but that's what made it so compelling. The 70s and 80s were a time of change, not just in the world, but also in the music industry. And lo-fi music was right at the forefront of this change. It was a genre that didn't conform to the mainstream, that wasn't afraid to be different. The 70s and 80s marked a significant shift, with artists using lo-fi aesthetics to create unique and distinctive sounds. It was a time when music was being redefined, and lo-fi was right there, leading the charge. As we step into the 90s, we see the rise of lo-fi indie music. The 90s were a pivotal decade in the music industry. It was a time of experimentation and innovation, and one genre that truly came to its own during this era was lo-fi indie music. Lo-fi, short for low fidelity, was no longer just a production choice or an aesthetic, but was evolving into a genre that stood on its own. Previously, lo-fi music was largely characterized by its raw, unpolished sound, often created using rudimentary recording equipment. But in the 90s, artists began to embrace this lack of polish, using it to create music that was deeply personal and unique. indie artists started to experiment more with their sounds, leading to the creation of a whole new subgenre of music. They used lo-fi techniques to create music that was intimate and authentic, music that was a perfect reflection of their thoughts and emotions. Artists like Sabado, Guided by Voices, and Pavement were at the forefront of this movement, using their DIY ethos to create music that was beautifully imperfect. They embraced the grainy, distorted sounds of lo-fi, using it to create music that was raw and real. This was a time when music was starting to move away from the polished, overproduced sounds of the 80s. People were craving something more authentic, something that felt real. And lo-fi indie music was the perfect answer to that craving. The 90s also saw the rise of indie record labels, which played a crucial role in promoting lo-fi music. Labels like Matador Records and Sub Pop championed the lo-fi sound, helping to bring it to a wider audience. This decade was a defining era for lo-fi music. It was a time when artists were not afraid to break the rules, to experiment with their sound, to create music that was uniquely their own. And as a result, we got some of the most iconic lo-fi indie tracks of all time. The 90s truly were a defining era for lo-fi, bringing us the rise of lo-fi indie music. Enter the digital age, and lo-fi takes on a whole new form. As technology advanced and the internet became a staple in our lives, lo-fi music found its way into the digital realm. No longer confined to tapes and vinyl, this genre began to thrive in a space where listeners could access it at any time, from anywhere. Let's talk about the emergence of lo-fi hip-hop. Picture a smooth blend of classic hip-hop beats with the raw, unpolished sound of lo-fi music. This combination has created a unique soundscape that has resonated with listeners worldwide. Whether it's serving as a calming backdrop for studying, a gentle companion for a quiet night in, or a soothing lullaby to drift off to sleep, lo-fi hip-hop has found a home in many hearts and playlists. Now, let's discuss lo-fi's growing popularity on digital music platforms. The creation of YouTube, Spotify, and similar platforms has allowed lo-fi music to reach an even wider audience. The accessibility of these platforms has made it easier for listeners to discover new artists and tracks, propelling lo-fi music to new heights of popularity. And let's not forget the role of algorithms in shaping our music taste. Ever noticed how your recommended playlists often include that perfect lo-fi track you didn't know you needed? That's the magic of algorithms at work, curating your listening experience based on your past music choices. The digital age has also democratized music production. With affordable software and hardware, anyone can create and share their own lo-fi tracks. This has led to an explosion of creativity, with artists from all walks of life contributing to the genre. This journey from the underground to the mainstream hasn't diluted lo-fi's essence. Instead, it has allowed the genre to evolve, incorporating new influences and reaching new listeners. The digital age has truly embraced lo-fi, transforming it into a genre loved by many around the world. So, why does lo-fi music matter, you might ask? Well, the answer lies in its profound impact on our daily lives. Lo-fi music, with its grainy vintage charm, has become the go-to background score for our lives. Whether we're studying, working, or just simply relaxing, it's like the comforting hum of a coffee shop, or the sound of rain against the window. Unobtrusive yet present, providing a soothing backdrop to our thoughts and actions. Lo-fi's inherent simplicity and repetitive beats have a calming effect, helping to reduce stress and anxiety levels. It's like a warm, sonic blanket, wrapping us in a comforting cocoon of sound, away from the hustle and bustle of our hectic lives. This makes it a perfect companion for meditation, yoga, or any activity that requires focus and concentration. It's not just music, it's a mindfulness tool, but it's not just about relaxation and focus. Lo-fi music also serves as a catalyst for creativity. Artists, writers, and creatives of all types have found inspiration in its nostalgic undertones and ethereal melodies. It takes us back to simpler times, stirring memories and emotions, and sparking ideas. And let's not forget its role in popular culture. Lo-fi music has permeated every corner of our lives, from coffee shops to commercials, from indie movies to mainstream TV shows. It's become the soundtrack of our generation, reflecting our collective yearning for authenticity and simplicity in an increasingly complex world. From its humble beginnings in the basements of aspiring musicians to its current status as a global phenomenon, lo-fi music has indeed made its mark. Its impact is undeniable, a testament to the power of music to shape our lives and culture. And this is just the beginning. With its ever-evolving nature and growing popularity, the future of lo-fi music looks bright indeed. From its humble beginnings to its current global popularity, lo-fi music has certainly made its mark. And who knows what the future holds for this unique genre? Stay tuned to find out. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting content on music and culture.